Hello, ninth graders. Nice to see you here. I'm teacher Sylvia. I'm from Yangmin Junior High School. Today, I'm really happy to be here with you and we can learn some English. Because teacher Jojo has some other things to do, she can't be here. But don't worry, she'll be back in the next class. In today's lesson, we're going to learn something about a very special book. The title of the book is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. In case that you may not know the word effective, I have its Chinese meaning here for you. Okay, why I said it's a very special book? What makes the book so special? Well, it's one of the best-selling books of all time. Actually, it has sold over 40 million copies around the world. That's really something, isn't it? In order to help you learn more and learn more easily, I have a 2-page worksheet for you. Just scan the QR code and you can get the file of the worksheet. You can download it now or later after the class. There are 3 parts in today's lesson. The first part is introduction. In this part, I will cover some information of the book. The most important part of today's lesson is part 2, and I will share with you the 2 key points of each habit. There are still some new words in today's lesson. I will show you their meanings as well. And the third part will be the review part of the lesson. We will look over the key points of each habit again, and we will also review all the new words once again. And of course, we have a small test in the end of the lesson. Okay, before we start, in order to help you keep up with the lesson, I make some index tabs on the right side. As you can see, the color tab means which part we are in. For example, this means we are in the first part of this lesson. In the second part, we will talk about 7 habits. I also make index tab on the upper side. And the color part means which habits we are talking about. For example, this page means it's time for habit 7. Okay. Now, without further ado, let's get started. When we talk about a book, a very important thing for us is to know about the author. The author means the writer of the book. The main author of the book is Stephen R. Covey, who was a famous American educator, author, businessman, and speaker. And also, his son, Sean Covey, also shares some of his ideas in the book. The book first came out in 1989, which was 32 years ago. That was a long time, right? And it is so popular that it has been translated into over 40 languages. And they even have a teenage version and a kids version. The teenage version are for you teenagers, and the kids versions are for young kids. And as you can see in the pictures, they have Japanese version, in Korean, in French, Spanish, and what's this? Guess what? Okay, it's in Hindi. It's a language that is spoken in the north part of India. And how about this one? This is a Russian version. And this one is Arabic version. And of course, they have Chinese version. This is the cover of an older one, and this is the latest one. And I got one myself. I bought this book in 2006. That was 15 years ago. Okay, and I guess in 2006, most of you were not born yet, right? Okay? And before we talk about the content of the book, I have a video for you. It will give you some idea of the book. Let's watch it.
我们都希望能够有成功的一生。为了达到这个目标，我们又应该具备哪些条件呢？美国成功学大师史蒂芬·科维所写的《与成功有约：高效能人士的7个习惯》，出版将近30年来，在成功学的地位上屹立不摇，全球被翻译成40种语言，总销售量超过2800万册。这么的畅销又长销，绝对不是偶然。因为他教的不是如何获得成就，而是如何修炼性格。他教的不是技巧，而是永恒的原则。简单来说，如果你要你的世界更好，你自己要先变得更好。那这7个习惯是什么呢？主动积极，以终为始，要事第一，双赢思维，知彼解己，统合纵效，不断更新。这些只是标题，但这本书为什么那么有影响力？是因为科维能用朴实的语言和贴近人心的故事，让你理解这些原则的重要性。对我来说，最有共鸣的是第5个习惯：知彼解己 ，Seek first to understand, then to be understood。像是如果你今天看不清楚，去配个眼镜，碰到验光师，他跟你说：“哎，这是我自己戴了10年的眼镜，帮助我很多，给你拿去用。”你看了，你说，可是医生啊，我戴的一点都看得没有比较清楚，反而还更糟啊。这时候验光师跟你说，哎，可是这个帮助我很多啊，你自己看不清楚，那可能是因为你自己没有用心看。你想，这么莫名其妙的验光师，你还会想要回去找他吗？当然不会了。只不过，我们时常在给人建议的时候，就有一点像是那个验光师一样，我们想要把自己的处方硬塞给人家，但其实我们更需要做的是先来帮对方验光，先了解他的状况，用同理心对待他，让他的渴望被理解的需求能够先被满足。因为人类除了存活的需求之外，最需要的也是心理的存活，也就是被别人理解，被他们肯定，被他们欣赏。当你能够满足这个需求的话，对方就会把他的信任感主动交给你，真正的沟通才能够发生。那这个观念和以上那个验光师的故事，在当初我在书里面读到的时候，真的是一语点醒梦中人啊。当你读这本书的时候，你可以感受到科维从每一个字句里向你呼唤的热情。我在这里向您推荐史蒂芬·科维的《与成功有约》，让你成为更好的自己。
It's such an interesting book, isn't it? Just as the speaker said, there are a lot of interesting stories in this book, but we only have one class to talk about the book, so I won't share the story with you. But it's okay. You can always get a copy and find out the stories by yourself. After watching the video, I believe you must know more about the things we will talk about later. And when it comes to habits, what comes to your mind? I think most of us will want to think about the question. What are habits? And why do we need good habits? Okay, now I have another video for you. And then after watching the video, we will talk about what are habits and why do we need good habits.
Hey kids, today we're starting a new series on habits. Do you know what a habit is? A habit is something you do over and over again.
When you get into a habit, you do it without thinking about it.
Habits can be good or bad, and it's important to think about them.
Make sure you're only doing the good ones, and here's why.
Habits have a way of controlling us.
It's like a robot with a fancy control panel.
When you get into a habit, it's like someone is programming that habit into your system.
Once it gets in there, it's hard to get it out.
In this lesson, we want you to think about what's in your program.
Answer these questions with your parents.
What are some things that you do every day?
Are those things good or bad for you?
What are some other bad habits you have?
Understanding the habits that you already have will help you decide which ones are good and bad.
These are the things in your program that are good and helpful. Things like helping at home, homework. You can add more to this list at home with your parents.
Bad habits come in all shapes and sizes. You've got your gross habits, like chewing your nails, picking your nose, burping really loud. These are the kinds of things that your mom really doesn't like. And then you've got your sin habits, things like disobeying your parents, being mean to other kids, sneaking things without permission.
So, how can you change your bad habits but keep your good habits? That's a great question.
Okay, as what was mentioned in the second video, habits are the things we do over and over again in our everyday life. Sometimes we do things so often that we can't even do them without thinking. Have you ever had the experience that you say something bad to your friend but you don't mean to, and you feel so sorry about it? I believe most of us have. Why does that happen? Sometimes it's just because we are in the habit of it. Most of the time, we're hardly aware that we have some habits. Just like self-driving cars, the habits are on autopilot. Good habits will take us to a good place, and bad habits will take us to a place that may break us. So, if we want to live our life better, we need to try our best to let good habits in and get bad habits out. Luckily, we are stronger than our habits. We can change them as long as we try our best. What are the 7 habits which change our life for the better? Okay, now we'll go to the second part. Here they are. Habit 1, be proactive. Habit 2, begin with the end in mind. Habit 3, put first things first. Habit 4, think win-win. Habit 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Habit 6, synergize. And the last one, habit 7, sharpen the soul. I will explain them one by one to you. Habit 1, be proactive. Being proactive means taking action to make something happen and make it better. If we are proactive, it means we have control over things. Maybe you have a question in your mind. Why do we need to be proactive? What if we are not? Let's think about the question. What if we are reactive? Before I answer you the question, let's think about this. What will happen if we are not proactive? What if we are reactive? Not like proactive people. A reactive people just doesn't have control over his or her life. If we are reactive, we may just do things like that we know is wrong, but just because we feel like doing it. Or if we have some problems, we don't try to find out the solutions, but just blame our parents, our teachers, or friends. We think it's all their fault. Are these good ideas? I'm sure your answer is just like mine. They are really bad ideas. Okay, instead, if we want to have control over our life, we choose our actions, attitudes, and moods. Attitude means the way we think of something, and mood means the way we feel about something. And if we have some problems, we do not blame others for our problems. We choose to find the solutions. These are the 2 key points. Habit 1, about habit 1, which I want to share with you most. Okay, now let's look at the new words in habit 1 again. The first one is proactive. Proactive. The second one is blame. plan. The next one, attitude, attitude. And the last one, mood, mood. And now we are going to habit 2. Habit 2, begin with the end in mind. It means we can plan ahead and set goals. And it also means we do things that have meaning and make a difference. Some of my students keep telling me, Sylvia, I can't find my goal. I don't know what I can do in the future. Do you have the same problem too? Of course, we need to try a lot of things to find our goal in life. But before we find our goal, can't we just do something? What if we just don't have any goal? Of course, there are still many things for us to do. The first one for us to do is to make ourselves a better person. We can always learn new things and be nice to others or help others. Every good thing we do help us to become a better person, whether we have a goal or not. The second thing is focus your time and energy on things that we can control. Because of COVID-19, we cannot go to school, and we cannot go out to meet our friends either. If we just keep on complaining about this, we won't learn things. On the contrary, we can make use of the time we have to do things that we always want to do. For example, we finally have time to read the books we like, right? We can learn cooking at home because we can eat out now. Though we are not able to go to the gym, we can still do some workout at home to keep healthy. So again, before we find out our goal, what can we do? We can try to be a better person, do good things every day, and we can focus time and energy on things that we can control. Okay, now let's look at the new words in habit 2. Plan ahead. Plan ahead. Set goals. Set goals. Focus. Focus. Energy. Energy. And now it's time for habit 3. Put first things first. Before we talk about this habit, let's think about the question. What will happen if we don't put first things first? Imagine that we don't do whatever is important in our life, or we always put off our homework until tomorrow. What will happen? I believe our teachers and parents will be really, really mad at us if we are like this, right? These are really bad ideas. Then, do you want to do things more efficiently? You can follow the 2 ideas of habit 3. The first one is to set priorities, make a schedule, and follow the plan. And the second one is to say no to things that we know we shouldn't do. Always do things that are important first. We can also make a to-do list and follow it. Before we finish our work, try not to do other things. This way, we can not only finish what we need to do faster, but also leave more time to ourselves. These are the 2 things that I want to share with you of habit 3. Now, let's look at the new words in habit 3. The first one is efficiently. Efficiently. The second one, priority. Priority. And the last one, schedule. Schedule. Now it's time for habit 4. Think win-win. Life is not a competition. Only one person can win the championship. Instead, life is like a place where we work together to make things better. The 2 key points of habit 4 is that we believe everyone can win somewhere, and we don't have to put others down to get what we want. To put someone down means to look down on someone or say something bad about him or her. Together, we can create a win-win situation for everyone. Now, let's review the new phrases in Habit 4. There is only one phrase here. Put down. Put down. We sometimes say put someone down. Put someone down. Just as what we saw in the first video, in order to have better connection with others, we need to understand others first, and we also need others to understand us as well. And let's go to Habit 5. Seek first to understand and then to be understood. What can we do to understand each other better? There are 2 things for us to do. The first one is try to see things from others' points of view. Then we know them better. Don't forget to do the second thing, and it's also very important. That is to share our opinions and ideas with others. And that way, there will be fewer misunderstandings and we can communicate with each other better. Now, it's time to look at the new words of Habit 5. There are 2 words here. The first one is viewpoint. Viewpoint. The second one, opinion. Opinion. Okay, now we have covered 5 habits. It's time for us to go to Habit 6. Synergize. To synergize means to work with others and to do things in a better way. Maybe you want to ask, why do I have to work with others? Let me give you some example to show you that together make things better. Do you know the man in the middle of the picture? Yeah, he is LeBron James. He is a very famous and great basketball player. Let's imagine if he played all by himself without his teammate. Could he still have won the NBA championship? Of course not. Okay, here is some other example. iPhone 12 is one of the best-selling smartphones in the world. Tim Cook made it on his own? No way. It takes a whole team to have great things done. Do you agree? So, what are the key points of Habit 6? Here they are. We can all learn something from each other. Let's learn to look at the good sides of everyone. Second, working in groups helps to create better ideas. After all, 2 heads are better than 1, aren't they? We only have 1 new word in Habit 6. Let's look at it again. Synergize. Synergize. It is a little bit difficult, but I believe you can learn it well. Finally, we come to the last habit. Habit 7. Sharpen the saw. Sharpen is a verb. It means to make something sharp. And saw is a noun. It is a tool we use when we want to cut down trees. What does sharpen the saw have to do with us? Of course, it doesn't mean we really have to cut down trees. It means if we want to do things better, we need to make our tool better first. If we want to learn better and live a better life, what do we need to do? And what do we need? First, we need a healthy body. Second, we need a sharp mind. What can we do to achieve the goal? Habit 7 is here to help you. The first thing we can do is to take care of our body by eating right, exercising, and getting enough sleep. They are really important if we want to have a healthy body. And the second thing is to keep learning, not only at school, but also in other places. Let's practice the vocabulary of Habit 7. The first one is sharpen, sharpen. And the second one is saw, saw. We have covered all the 7 habits. Don't worry if you can't remember all of them. You can always come back and review the lesson. Also, it's definitely not an easy job to make all the 7 habits ours. But I believe if we keep practicing, little by little, we can do better. Now, it's time for us to review the lesson we learned today. And after that, we will have some tests for you. Habit 1, be proactive. I choose my actions, attitudes, and moods. I do not blame others for my problems. Habit 2, begin with the end in mind. I plan ahead and set goals. I do things that have meaning and make a difference. Habit 3, put first things first. I set priorities, make a schedule, and follow my plan. I say no to things I know I should not do. These 3 habits are for our private victory. It means that we can succeed in our own life with these 3 habits. Habit 4, think win-win. I believe that we all can win. I don't have to put others down to get what I want. Habit 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. I try to see things from other people's viewpoints. I share my opinions and ideas. Habit 6, synergize. We can all learn something from each other. Working in groups helps to create better ideas. These 3 habits can bring us public victory. And the last one is sharpen the soul. I take care of my body by eating right, exercising, and getting sleep. I learn in lots of ways and lots of places, not just at school. And these habits can make us not only new in our body, but also in our mind. Okay, now let's review all the new words again. You can read with me. Proactive, proactive. Plan, plan. Attitude, attitude. Mood, mood. Plan ahead, plan ahead. Set goals, set goals. Focus, focus. Energy, energy. Priority, priority. Schedule, schedule. Put down, put down. Viewpoint, viewpoint, opinion, opinion, synergize, synergize, sharpen, sharpen, solve, solve. Have you learned all the things we learned today? And now we have a little test for you, and let's do it together. Okay, do you remember the book title? Yes, you're right. The title of the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And do you remember who the author is? Actually, the main author of the book is Stephen R. Covey, and his son also share some of his idea in the book. His son's name is Sean Covey. And where are the 2 authors from? They are from the USA. And what language is the book first written in? Yeah, you're right, it's in English. And okay, let's put the Chinese meaning in the blank. The first one, be proactive. What does it mean in Chinese? Do you remember? You can check the worksheet. Yes, you're right. The first one is 主动积极. And what does it mean to be proactive? Yes, it means there are 2 parts we have talked about before. And habit 2, begin with the end in mind. What does it mean in Chinese? You're right. It means 以终为始. And the main key points of habit 2. Okay, how about habit 3? Put first things first. What does it mean in Chinese? Yeah, sorry, I make some mistake, but we can still see it. And put first things first. The Chinese meaning is 要事第一. Okay, let's go to the next part. And what about the 要事第一? What is the main point of habit 3? It's here. We can set priorities, make a schedule, and follow the plan and do things that we know should not do. And how about think win-win? What does it mean in Chinese? Yes, you're right. We call it 双赢思维. And what about the key points? Here. Okay. And let's go to habit 5. Seek first to understand, and then to be understood. What does it mean in Chinese? Do you remember? Yes, you're right. It means 知彼解己. And what about the key points? Here. Okay, I made a mistake again. Okay, the Chinese meaning of habit 6 is synergize. As the Chinese meaning of synergize is 统合综效. And I guess next we will see the Chinese meaning of habit 7. Okay, yeah, I'm right. Sharpen the soul means 不断更新. And how about habit 5's key points? Here they are. And how about habit 6? Yes. And the last one, you know the answers. Good job. And next we have some other small tests for you. And first one, the 7 habits of highly effective people. And the Chinese name of the book is, which one? A, B, C, or D? Yes, you're right. The answer is A, 与成功有约. And question number 2, when did the book first came out? When did the book first come out? Which one? Yes, you know the answer. It first came out in 1989. Okay, And let's go to question 3. How many books have the book been sold? A, B, C, or D? Yeah, you know the answer is 40 million copies. That's a lot, right? And question number 4, habit 1, be proactive. What does it mean in Chinese? Do you remember? Yeah, we talked about this before. Yeah, you're right, it's 主动积极. And question number 5, how about habit 2? The answer is 以终为始. And question number 6, how about habit 3? It means 要事第一. And question number 7, what does habit 4, think win-win, means in Chinese? The answer is D, 双赢思维. And how about question 8, habit 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood? Yes, you're right. 知彼解己. Okay, we still have some questions. Question number 9. How about habit 6, synergize, means in Chinese? And it means 统合纵效. And the last one, habit 7, sharpen the soul. What does it mean in Chinese? You're right. It means 不断更新. Okay, we still have some questions here. And it's all about habit 2. And the first one, what does begin with the end in mind mean in Chinese? Yeah, we have answered this question before, right? And the answer is 以终为始. And how about plan ahead? What does it mean in Chinese? It means 事先计划. And question number 3, what does set goals mean in Chinese? Yes, you're right. It means 设定目标. And what does having meaning mean in Chinese? We didn't talk about this, but I believe you know the answer. It means 富有意义. And the last question, what does make a difference mean in Chinese? We didn't talk about it either, but I know you must know the answer. Yeah, you're right. It means 做出改变. Okay, guys, great job. You have done all the questions and learned all the things I want to share with you. Now, I want to share with you another videos, the last videos. And the videos is speak in English, but we have Chinese subtitle. So I believe you can learn to understand the meaning in the video. And of course, you can practice your listening as well. Okay, let's watch it.
I remember my grandma's favorite story was about how everything cost 2 cents when she was young. But now, everything constantly got more expensive. And it was all because of the government. These uneducated pigs didn't know how to control prices. And when I was privileged enough to hear this story, her complaining would last for hours and hours. And that's exactly what reactive people do. They always focus on the things that they cannot control. It's not possible that a concept like inflation would exist. And if it did, it's impossible that they wouldn't know about it. On the other hand, proactive people realize, look, even if my complaining were completely objective, it doesn't help me. So I'm going to focus on what I can control. If a proactive person owns a business where he sells a product, instead of focusing on how people these days don't appreciate good products anymore and how the government has horrible regulations, he focuses on how can I improve my product so my customers can't live without it. Do you realize how much responsibility, how much dedication, how much hard work comes along with asking that question? And what do you think our effort minimizing brain is going to pick as default? That is exactly why most people focus on the things that they cannot control rather than focusing on the things that they can. Habit number 1 is be proactive. Now, imagine you're at a funeral, but this one's different from all the funerals you've ever been to. You're standing over the casket and you see yourself. What do you have to say about yourself? This is one of the most powerful questions you could ask. Are you doing the things in your life which are aligned with what you want to be able to say? Do you want to say that you are a good spouse? If that's the case, how does coming home and instantly being negative towards your spouse affect that? Do you want to be remembered as a person who added value to society? If that's the case, are you doing the things that will allow you to say that, or are you scared of failure and choose comfortable mediocrity instead? Almost every one of us will have to readjust how we live when we ask this question. Habit number 2 is begin with the end in mind. Now, if I were to ask you, what are the most important things to you? The most common answers I would get would be either your well-being or your relationships, your family, your spouse, your children. You would never ever say organizing papers or watching TV. But how many of us spend more time organizing papers and watching TV than planning our nutrition and going to the gym or cultivating a healthy family environment? There's a horrible disconnect between what we say and how we actually allocate our time. Habit number 3 is put first things first. Now, imagine you're an author and I'm an author, and we both write interesting books, and we both have access to an audience of about 100,000 people. I read your book and I love it, so I decide to share it with my audience, and as a result, you now have thousands of people buying your book and reading your ideas. You see this and think, who is this guy? Let me take a look at his book. You start reading my book and think I have ideas that are valuable, so you decide to share it with your audience. And as a result, I now have thousands of people buying my book and reading my ideas. Notice how different this is from my creating a little creepy Amazon account, finding your book and leaving a bad review, hoping that this will deter a few people from buying your book, which will in turn somehow get them to buy my book. Habit number 4 is think win-win. Stop thinking of everything as a zero-sum game. For you to win, another person does not have to lose. Something I want my viewers to do is to subscribe to my channel. But you will never hear me say, well, I worked really hard, guys. I dedicated so many hours to this. Please subscribe. Look, who cares if I worked hard? Who cares if I've spent days creating this video? The real questions are, does it offer value to you? And why should you dedicate your time to subscribing when you could be doing anything else that you want? Habit number 5 is something that I try to use every single day with every interaction that I have and with every comment that I reply to, and it is this: seek first to understand, then to be understood. Now, imagine there are 2 people and a tree with 5 apples on it. They're both too short to reach the apples, but if one of them sits on the other's shoulders, he can reach all 5 of the apples. This is called synergy. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Now, I'll be the first one to admit that you can't achieve this with everyone, but you should always be looking for opportunities to create synergy. With every synergistic opportunity you create, you can gather many more apples than you otherwise would by yourself. Habit number 6 is synergize. A man has been trying to cut down a tree for hours, and after a while his neighbor can't take it anymore, goes over and says, you know, if you sharpen the saw, you'll be able to cut it down faster. And the man replies, but sharpening the saw is going to take time. Now, we might laugh at this story, but we do the same thing all the time. We can't find 30 minutes a day, 4 times a week to go to the gym. Our health deteriorates to a point where we're physically incapable of being effective. We can't read a book for 15 minutes a day and mentally stimulate ourselves. No, these things take too much time. And then we have the audacity to ask for little tips and tricks on how to be effective. It's like telling your engineer, don't worry about the foundation, where can we get the magic bricks that will float in the air? Habit number 7 is sharpen the saw. And these are the 7 habits of highly effective people by Stephen Covey.
Okay, before we end the class, here is still one thing I want to share with you. It's a quote from Aristotle. Just as what he said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. If we want to be excellent people, what we need first is to have good habits. It's not just an act, it's a lifelong goal for all of us. It's hard work, but it's worth it. I hope you all learned something today, and I also hope that all of us can stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.